So can we talk about a little bit of, I mean, one of my personal sort of things has always been to talk about the drugs during that period, because I find that I'm always interested in how it affected the DJs, how it affected the crowds they played for, whether DJs could play while they were on something, whether they couldn't, what it was like to play for crowds that were drunk versus crowds that were on ecstasy or weed or whatever. Do you want to talk about any of that?
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
The designer drugs, the ecstasy and all of that, I did once, but I was not working, and I really didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling it gave me, especially the next day. Cocaine, I had a problem with. Alcohol, I had a huge problem with. But back then, if you had a few cocktails, you do a couple lines of cocaine, and you'd be like, whoop,
Right.
It would like open your eyes again.
Right.
Yeah, I had a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so did everybody else. So when I finally kicked the cocaine, the alcohol continued, and eventually it got the better of me, and I went to rehab actually.
And you stopped.
Went to rehab for a couple weeks and stopped doing everything: alcohol, cocaine, everything.
How did your life change after that?
Well, I wasn't high a lot.
Yeah.
You see, with the DJ, the cocaine, the alcohol, everything was free. Here, have this.
Yeah.
Those people would like throw coke things and the little plastic things over the turntable and say, "Here, will you play Funky Town?" You're like, "Hey, yeah, sure, I'll play it now."
Right. Yeah. For that, sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we romanticize a lot of that to some degree. I think, that whole era of like hedonism and drugs.
All that, all those things affect people different ways, different people different ways.
Yeah. But I guess how was your playing after you cleaned yourself up? I mean,
it made me nervous. It made me real nervous.
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh, I really need a cocktail, but I can't now.
Yeah.
So
because I don't drink anymore either, so like I do it all sober,
right.
And like I know that feeling. Sometimes you think, well, I might play better if I was more in tune with what's happening in the room,
right.
And the way I could be more in tune with what's happening in the room is if I had a couple of drinks or whatever. But we know that's not really where it ends up.
Right. And also, our mind is clearer.
Right.
And we can look at the crowd and we can say, okay, well, he's on G.
Right.
And somebody needs to go sit with him.
Right.
And she's bouncing off the walls, so
Yeah.
she's done something in the the amphetamine group.
Yeah. Right. It's true. It's more important to be more in control now, I think, to some degree. It helps you read the room better if you're not on something.
Exactly.
It gives you a clearer understanding of what's happening.
Yeah, and if you had not had the opportunity to do that sober, I was nervous. It made me stand back and say, well, should I still do this, or should I get a normal job? So when
what year was that? Would you say that you finally
It was 97.
Okay.
And
so it was a long time that you were operating like that, though, huh? Yeah. So you're in Miami, but you have to get out of there partially because you want to get away from that scene, right? So you come back to Provincetown in '88.
I came to Provincetown in '94.
Oh, okay. So were you back in Boston sort of after Miami, or?
No, I was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But then once I got settled in P-Town, I stayed there until 2003.
But you were DJing a lot of places probably because of your reputation from Metro.
At that time, well, after Metro, when I was in P-Town, actually, because I did some Miami clubs too when I lived in Miami Beach.
Right.
Paragon, Twist, which is still there.
Right. And then in P-Town, where do you start playing in P-Town?
Oh God, I played everywhere there. There was a bar called Purgatory, which was at the Gifford House in the basement. I think they still call it that.
I believe they do.
Sure. The Pied I played at for a year, but that was when After Tea was big, and it wasn't all women. It was a mix of men and women, mostly men actually.
Did you have a preference for who you like to play for?
Oh yeah.
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 And it's.
Oh, definitely gay men.
Yeah.
Women, no offense to any of you women watching this, but women, playing for women is like being a human jukebox.
Yeah.
They want to hear their request,
Right.
and they want to hear it now.
Right.
They don't want to wait.
Right.
You haven't played my request yet.
Mm-hmm.
You were here 5 minutes ago.
Right.
You know.
I mean, that's sort of a universal complaint
Yeah.
because a lot of people, especially nowadays with this on-demand culture, a lot of people sort of think that you're human Spotify or whatever.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that they can just hear what that they have more control over their environment than
Right.
they think they do when they go into a club. Now.
Right.
So that's kind of universal, but I do think it's slightly different with women. I mean,
It's way different with women.
I had a large group of women come in last Sunday, and they were great actually as far as requests went. But I've had times at Club Cafe where there was almost a line at the booth, and it was one after another wanting to hear something that I was likely going to play
Right.
anyway. That's the thing. There was a pretty good chance I was going to play it anyway.
Right.
But I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't mind taking requests.
Right.
But when people come back and they're like,
Yeah.
we're ready to leave.
Oh boy, that drives me crazy.
Well, bye.
Right. Yeah. Can you play it soon? We're gonna leave.
Yeah.
That's a good one. We
Yeah.
all love that one. So you did like playing for men, and so that was when Pied was more mixed.
After tea.
After tea.
Oh, the after tea.
Was tea all women, right? That tea at Pied, or was that tea men? Mostly at Pied?
The tea dance was at the boat slip.
Oh, okay.
The after tea was at the Pied.
Did the Pied try a tea though? I thought they did. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I don't remember them trying a tea.
Okay, so the boat slip tea was just what it always was.
Always was.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go to the boat slip tea and you see all kinds of people there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the after tea was geared more towards men, and
Mhm.
I did after tea for a while. But those women,
Yeah, hard
Yeah.
to please.
oh, I'm telling you, like a human jukebox.
Yeah,
And the slow songs.
yeah, they like slower
Are you gonna
tempos.
play a slow song? I'm like, there's 1,600 people here. You think they want to hear a slow song?
Right. Like a ballad even, right?
Yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Always and Forever.
Uh-huh.
You Make Me Feel Brand New.
Uh-huh.
You know,
This even in the 90s they wanted to hear
Yeah.
that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the all-time biggest ballad request was Wishing on a Star.
Sure. It's a beautiful song though.
Yeah.
It is still.
It's so beautiful. You had to play it into the ground and start to hate it.
Yeah, I'm sure. That can turn you against it. So, all right. So, but now, what are your recollections of P-Town, just in terms of like, I mean, it was not as expensive as it is now, right? I mean, it was relatively affordable, right?
Relatively affordable. The thing that happened with P-Town is, over a period of like 4 years, all this money came into town. All these gay men and women, both
Mhm.
of them, came into town and would go like to the door of a little Portuguese family and offer them $1 million for their house. And they were like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they would leave.
Yeah.
So now the fabric of the town is starting to leave.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where they were throwing people out of their apartments so they could renovate and use it for a seasonal rental.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the downfalls of P-Town. Also, not many places would let you just stay for Friday and Saturday night. They wanted
Full
7-night
week.
exclusive, yeah. Provincetown kind of shot a hole in their foot, the gun, you know, because now they complain that they're not getting any business. Well,
You made it.
Mary, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to book the room for 3 nights or have it empty
Right.
just because you need to fill it for a whole week?
Right.
It made no sense to me.
Yeah. And yet, it's still as popular as ever to some degree, it feels like, especially in the summertime. I mean, some Sundays at Club Cafe in the summertime, we're struggling because it seems like everybody's in Provincetown.
Right, right.
So people still love to go.
They still love to go,
Because
but
in some ways, it's a fantasy land, right? I mean, because it's still
Yeah.
isolated and it's still like where you see people from all over the country.
but the more that time went on, that ferry, they got the high-speed ferries by
Mhm.
then, and then the one ferry, you know, in the old days, like in the early 70s and whatnot, people would be like hanging off of the boat as it was
Mhm.
pulling into town, and it was just a big party to get to P-Town.
Yeah.
It was like 3.5 hours on the slow ferry.
Right. So, but you had a great time though, right? Playing.
I had a blast.
Yeah. So you were at the Pied for after tea, and then where else after that?
Well, at Purgatory I worked at, Crown and Anchor I worked at for a while, but nothing regular. You know, nothing that I could look forward to. That's the thing about being a DJ. You know, I mean, you can just be replaced in a second.
Yeah.
You can be replaced with Sirius Radio.
Right. I mean, people don't understand the human element versus sometimes a satellite.
Right, exactly.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah, now more than ever.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody playing more than one night a week just because the people don't go out as much.
Right.
You know, they stay home, they have house parties and whatnot, but, you know, who are they getting the music from? Well, maybe someone like me or Robbie Leslie or whoever, you know, the current group of DJs were, and that's how they would entertain their guests in their home, was with your music.
So before we get to post 2003, I want to go back a little bit to hear you talk about maybe what it was like being a woman in a male-dominated field. Like, what other parts of that did you find? Anything stand out for you in terms of challenges, or were there any advantages to it? Was there any? I mean,
well,
seems unlikely.
The thing about the Metro, they didn't look at me as a woman. They looked at me as someone good for their club who could play music. So I have to say, I didn't have to prove myself really to people that were hiring me, because I was still only in the Boston area. This is, I mean, I had done some things on the road and whatnot, but my name was pretty big in the circuit world. So I did a lot of traveling, even after I moved to P-Town.
Right. And women had some more success on the circuit, like Susan Morbido and people like that, right? We're having more success on the circuit anyway, right? Sharon White, I think, right?
Sharon White, me, Lydia Prim, Allison Kalanya, Tracy Young.
Oh, right, okay, sure.
But they came after me.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of people came after you, yeah.
I met Tracy Young. When I met Tracy Young, we were standing out in front of the Crown and Anchor, and she was like, "Oh, Wendy Hunt, Wendy Hunt," and I said, "Oh, please."
What year was that?
It was
roughly, do you think?
I probably maybe 2005, 2006.
Wow.
Yeah.